welcome all to the first session of June 2018, rather, practice to pass of F5. This is the F5 revision session. So if you find it, one of the students has told that it says welcome to P7, so I don't know what the error was, but don't worry, it is the session of F5, not the P7. So you don't need to worry about that. So let's start with my introduction first. My name is Ijaz, and by qualification, my primary qualification is that I'm an FCCA. Please note my email address, which is asad.ijaz@scans.edu.pk. You will be shared with the link of WhatsApp group, and with that, I would love you to join that group so that if you have any query of these sessions, we can discuss that regarding your exam. So, and I will be there for your support. As far as my teaching is concerned, I've been teaching the subject F5 for the last 10 years. So ever since the F5 is available, I'm teaching that subject, and Alhamdulillah, I'm getting the pass rates beyond the global average. Now, what is the objective of this webinar? So basically, in this webinar, we will be focusing more on how to perform questions especially in CBE environment. As we know, especially in Pakistan, the exams from F5 to F9 are now compulsory CBE. So we feel that the students may have trouble in performing the questions or in the session CBE environment. So we will be focusing more on that. So it is basically a question-based revision of key topics. So that means we will not be revising the key topics, rather we will be discussing the questions on certain key areas of F5. Now, if you want to listen the revision of a topic, what you can do is ACCA has shared you the link of March 2018 session, the practice to pass, rather the prepare to pass session, and you can view the complete topic from that. In fact, I would strongly advise to first listen to these practice videos and then listen to this question-based session, because this will help you to understand more. So anything, you have the query right at the start of the session. So any query. So I assume there is no query right away. So let me start it with the paper pattern of F5. I'm sure you would have been familiar, but to complete the formality and for those who are still not familiar with the pattern of the F5, so you should remember that the final exam in which you are going to appear will include 3 sections. And what are they? So number 1 is the section A. This section should have 15 objective tests, each having 2 marks. So it will make a total of 30 marks. Then there will be a section B. Section B consists of 3 OT cases. So each OT case will have 5 different objective tests, and this will make up to 30 marks once again. So this will mean our 60% of the paper will be based on the objective test. But when we go to section C, we have 2 CRs, each having 20 marks, and each may have multiple requirements. So this will combine make up to 40 marks, section C. In this section C, we also need to note that we have been given 5 additional objective tests known as seeded questions. So that means in the exam, we are actually taking up the exam of 110 marks, not the 100 marks. Now, these seeded questions will carry no marks. So either you do it right or you do it wrong, it won't affect. Now, either these 5 objective tests will be part of section A or one OT case in section B. So that means when you went into your section CBE, you will find that there are 20 objective tests in section A. And this will mean 15 objective tests are that will carry 2 marks and 5 additional seeded questions that will carry no marks. Otherwise, section A will be of 15 objective tests, but section B will have 4 OT cases. And in that, 3 OT cases will carry the marks and 1 independent OT case will be the seeded one. We will not be able to know which objective test or OT case is seeded. So we have to complete the exam proficiently. Right? So any question on paper pattern? Any question regarding the paper pattern? So I once again presume there is no question right away. So let's move to the day-wise plan. Now on the day 1, we will be discussing questions on costing. And as far as decision is concerned, we will be covering the questions of pricing and CBP. Before moving on, there are a couple of questions that I would love to answer. So the first one is there any section particularly based for OTs only? Yes. The section A of the syllabus, I presume, the student is asking about the sections in our syllabus. We have 4 different sections in F5. Section A is on costing. Section B is on decision making. Section C is on budgeting and control, and section D is on performance measurement. Now, section A, represent the costing section, will only be comprised of objective tests. So in an exam, you will only find objective tests or OT cases from that. Now, coming to the next question, kindly explain the last point again. And there is one more question which is pretty much related to that. It is from the one of the student, and it is, what is the purpose of adding extra questions in our exam that's not containing any marks? So both of the questions were related to the seeded ones. So let me go back to my previous slide. If you could allow me. Now, the questions that you are asking are on seeded questions. So you have to remember that there will be 5 objective tests, 5 additional objective tests in your exam. And with that, what will happen is either I'm talking about section A and section B, you will find either 20 questions in section A and 15 objective tests in section B, or there will be 15 objective tests and 20 objective tests in section B. Now, if there are 20 objective tests in section B, that means there will be 4 OT cases. So either of this situation will come into your exam. So either the 5 objective tests will be the part of section A or it will be the part of section B. Right? Now one of the students has asked me that what is the objective of including the seeded questions. So the first of all, which is the important one for me to explain you, that this is the part of an exam and we have to deal with that. So whether we understand the logic of for it or not, we have to deal it. So let's prepare it for that. Now, even then, what is the objective for ACCA to include the seeded question is to ensure that the rigor and the quality of the questions are same across the board. So that students who are appearing in different sessions will not be disadvantaged. For example, if I has a I and there one more person, both have the preparation level of same, then their final marks should be close to each other. However, there are chances that in the session that I have been sitting in the exam is the easier one, whereas the other person sitting the exam find the questions difficult one. So to ensure that these questions are of the same level, the 5 additional objective tests will be checking the overall difficulty level of the exam and overall rigor level of the exam, so that no student will be at the disadvantage. So this is the objective, right? So coming back to the day-wise plan. So on day 1, we will be covering costing and decision. And in the decision section, I will be taking the question of pricing and CVP specifically. On day 2, we will be discussing further decision-making questions that includes the topic of limiting factor, relevant cost, and risk. On day 3, we will be covering the questions of budgeting and control. On day 4, we will be covering the questions on performance measurement. And on day 5 will be your day, which is based on question and answer session. So I would love that you start preparing the questions that you should ask on day 5 right now, because this session will be a complete 2-hour session and is only for your question and answer discussion. So anything you want to ask right now? So anything you want to ask right now? One of the students has asked me, what Excel skills do we need to pass F5 for C sections particularly? Dear, I know that the only section which is the point of concern is section C. There is no other concern, because as far as section A and B is concerned, you all have done the practice, or you have all done the similar type of questions when you have attempted F1, F2, F3, and even F4. So you have a clear understanding how the objective tests are and how are we going to prepare it, right? And that is the reason that the only type of questions that I have included in my plan was section C type questions, that is the long one. So how are you going to perform that, and what skills do we need? That we will be covering in the whole these things in the next 5 days, right? So I strongly advise that you should take complete class of that. There's one more question. Is there would be a question in section C of costing? No, I hope you are talking about section A costing question. So no, you will not be tested section C type question from the section A. So any more questions? So I hope there is none. So let us proceed with the day one questions. All these questions have already been shared to you. Have you all seen these questions or not? So at least one student has responded to me that he has seen that. I hope you all have. On the right side of the application, you will find the day-wise question, if not emailed to you, so you can download it from here. Our learner organizer has also shared the link of the previous videos of F5 and also the chat group. I would love that you all will also join it. Now coming to the questions part then. So here it is. Now the first question is on activity-based costing. Now I knew this question will appear in the as OTK's question, but I'm doing it, or I have chosen the long question because so that I can explain you how are you going to do the question in the CBE environment, right? So let's first read the requirement, and the first requirement is calculate the budgeted full production cost per unit of each product using that company's current method of absorption costing. So in this question, we will be calculating the full production cost per unit using the absorption costing method. And in the second requirement, we will once again be calculating the production cost per unit of each product using activity-based costing. One of the students has once again asked me where we will find these questions. Dear, first of all, you should have received an email from the ACCA in which these questions are shared. And even if not, on the right side of your screen, there is a heading which will be known as handouts, I think. And in the handout sections, there are word files named as day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. So you can download these. So let's first of all read the complete information, right? So the first task that after reading the requirement should be to reading the complete detailed information. So I will be muting my mic for a while and switching off my camera so that you can concentrate on reading the complete background information, and then we will discuss it how to solve the question. Okay? However, I will be in front of the screen, so if you have any question during that, you can ask and I will be answering it. I hope you all have read the complete information, right? So I will be covering the question on the spreadsheet environment. And for that, the first thing I will be doing is preparing a complete format for that. Now, the requirement in the question was to calculate the production cost of each unit. That means I will be calculating cost per unit using absorption costing, right? So let's make it bold. Now there will be three different types of product. One is product X, product Y, and product Z. And I will be working out in dollars. Now to calculate the product cost per unit, I will be requiring the cost of material, then labor, and then finally the overheads. Now both of these costs, the material and labor costs, are easy because they are already provided in the question. So it is 25 for X, 28 for Y, and 22 for product Z. So it will be 25, 28, 22. And as far as labor is concerned, it is 30, 36, and 24. 30, 36, and 24. Now talking about the overheads, this will be based on the absorption costing. So I will be working out. So I will be working overheads. And to determine overheads, I have to multiply the overhead with the overhead absorption rate. So I will be working, and for that I will be working out the budgeted overheads and the budgeted labor hours. Now budgeted overheads are given in the question as 13774400. So 13774400. Now talking about budgeted labor hours, I have to work it out. So there will be three products. The units of each product are 20,000 for X, 16,000 for Y, and 22,000 units for Z. So this will be 20,000, 16,000, and 22,000. And the labor hour per unit can be determined by, now product X required $30 of labor cost, and the hourly rate of labor is $12. That means the number of hours per X will be equal 30 divided by 12. So this will be 2.5. Similarly for product Y, it will be 36 by 12. And for product Z, it will be 24 by 12. So this is labor hour per unit. Now if I multiply the units with the labor hour per unit, I will have the answer. I will simply copy and then paste it to the next two columns, and I have the answers of labor hours. Hence, my budgeted total labor hours will be equal to the sum of the labor hour of X to the labor hour of Z. So the budgeted labor hours were 142,000. This will mean the OAR is equal budgeted fixed overhead divided by budgeted labor hour. So it is 9.7. Hence, my overhead per unit will be equal labor hour per unit of X, of course, multiplied by the OAR per hour. So it is 24.25 for product X. Similarly, I will determine it for product Y and for product Z as well. And now if I total it, this will be my product cost per unit. Let's copy and then paste it. This is the product cost per unit using absorption. Right? So any question up till now? Any question? So I presume there is no question right away. So I will be moving on the discussion of activity-based costing, right? So now, let me desegment it. So now I will be estimating the cost per unit using ABC. One of the students has mentioned me that I have done a mistake, and as I have opened the formula, I saw that instead of using the information of product Y, I mistakenly used the information of product X. So I will simply rectify my error and all my calculation will be recalculated or readjusted automatically. So the error over here is that I have multiplied it with the cell F21, and F21 represents labor hour per unit of X, Y. But for this, I have to use the labor hour per unit of Y, not the X, and it is in G21. So I will simply replace F with G. And when I enter it, you can see that my overheads have been adjusted accordingly, and my production cost per unit has also been adjusted accordingly. Right? So thank you, Saj, for mentioning the error. Now coming to the cost per unit using activity base. Now in the exam, you know the format will be the same, whether you have to use it according to absorption costing or use it through activity based. So what I'm doing over here, I will simply copy and then paste it. And the only thing I have to do is I have to remove the overheads. This is because the overheads referencing will be different. As far as material and labor is concerned, this is same. So let's jump to the overhead requirement. And for that, we will be estimating, we should have write the activity. We should also need to write its cost driver as provided in the question. We will then be calculating the ABR, and then finally we will be applying it on the product. So this will be a complete simple format to perform the activity-based costing. Right? So now let's move. So first of all, there is a machine setup cost whose cost driver is number of batches. So let's write that. Machine setup cost, and the cost driver is number of batches. Let me open it for you. Now the other cost is material ordering cost, and its cost driver is number of purchase orders. So material ordering cost, and it is number of purchase orders. The third is machine running cost, and also the general facility cost. Both have the similar cost driver, so I am combining it. So it will be machine running and general facility. Machine running and general facility. And its cost driver is number of machine hours. So now we have to calculate its ABR. And for the ABR, we have to estimate the number of batches first. So I will be working out separately for the number of batches. So the number of batches are this can be done by calculating the number of units divided by the batch size. So the number of units of product X is how much? 20,000, I guess, where it was. It's over here, 20,000. But I don't need to write 20,000 because I had used that value over here. These were my units. I have to divide it with the batch size, and the batch size given in the question is 500. So the number of batches for product X will be 40. Similarly, the number of batches for product Y will be number of units divided by the batch size, which is 800. And same is for product Z. So it will be units divided by the batch size, and the batch size was 400. That means the total batches will be, I'm writing the total over here, sum of all the batches of the product, and it is 115. So the machine setup cost ABR will be equal the machine setup cost of 280,000 divided by the number of batches, which is 115. So the ABR will be 2434.783. Similarly, talking about the material ordering cost, and for material ordering cost, we will be requiring the number of orders, and we have to work out this as well, number of orders. And the number of orders are 4 orders for a batch of X, 5 for Y, and then 4 for Z. That means my total number of batches for X will be number of batches multiplied by 4. For Y, it will be number of batches multiplied by 5. And for Z, it will be number of batches of 55 multiplied by 4. And once again, if I copy and paste the total, I will get the answer of number of orders. So these are my total number of orders, which is 480. So if I now calculate the material ordering cost. This will be the material ordering cost of 316 divided by 480 number of orders. So it is 658.33. For machine running and general facility costs, I will be requiring number of machine hours. So I will be estimating over here number of machine hours. And if you can see on the question, we have been provided with the machine hour per unit. If we simply multiply it with the number of units, I will get the total machine hours. So it is number of units of X. I have done that. Multiply by 1.5. So it is 30,000 machine hours for product X. Similarly, for product Y, it will be 16,000 units multiplied by 1.25. So it's 20,000 for Y. And for Z, it will be 22,000 units of X multiplied by 1.4. So it's 30,800. And when you total it, the total machine hours are 80,800. If we now calculate the ABR, it will be equal. I will combine both the costs. One is 420,000 plus the other cost is 361,400. And then divided by the total number of machine hours. So the ABR will be 9.670792. Now what I do, I will simply charge each activity base rate into the product. So first of all, let's do it for the machine setup. It will be ABR of machine setup multiplied by the number of batches. For product Y, it will be ABR multiplied by number of batches of product Y. And for product Z, it will be ABR multiplied by the number of batches of product Z. Similarly, I can do it for product X as well. So it will be ABR multiplied by number of orders for product X. ABR multiplied by number of units orders of product Y. And same I can do that for product Z. Similarly, I can work out for machine running and general facility cost. This will be once again ABR multiplied by the total machine hours of X. This is how I will derive the total cost of Y and finally the Z. Right? Now when I now make a total, so this will be the total overheads using activity based costing for product X. If I copy and then paste it, I will get the answers of product Y and Z as well. But remember that this is total overheads, not the per unit. So to calculate the overheads per unit, what will I do? I will simply divide the total overheads of each unit with its respective number of units. So it is 24.64242 overheads for product X using activity based costing. Because I have to do the same calculation for product Y and Z, so what we can do, we can simply copy and then paste it, and I will have the answers of product Y and Z as well. So these are the overheads based on activity based costing. And I have also identified the product cost per unit using absorption activity based costing rather as well. I should readjust it using ABC. So have you all understood that? Any question? Saad has requested me kindly redo the steps of calculating the cost per unit. Are you talking about the overhead cost per unit? Are you talking about the overhead cost per unit? Yes. No problem, dear. To calculate the overheads per unit, the formula should be the total overheads divided by the number of units, right? So using the activity-based costing, I have determined the total overheads of product X as 49,492,848.4. This is the total overheads to be charged on product X using activity-based costing. I have then divided by the number of units, which is 20,000. Hence, the overhead per unit will be 2464242 for product X. The calculation is same for product Y. If I can squeeze a little bit for you so that you can easily view both the values. So you see over here it is the total overheads for product Y, and over here I have used the number of units. So you can see the calculation as total overheads divided by the number of units. Now one of the students has asked me, kindly repeat the number of orders calculated. Here number of orders were, if you can see the information, it was number of purchase orders per batch. So the 4 number of orders were for the one batch. So the total number of orders will be based on the number of batches. So I have multiplied the number of batches with the order per batch to get the total number of orders. Right? So any question on that? Sir, will this formatting like cell adjustment be required us to do in the exam? No, you don't need to adjust the cells. I have adjusted it for you so that you can easily view what I am doing it. In an exam, you don't require to adjust it. And Asim has also asked another question. Why do the question mention about the elasticity or inelasticity of the product do we have to use of it here? Well, there are two sides of this question. So the one side over here is that this question may have several other requirements, but I have not mentioned it. This may have some other requirements, and the other requirement may have been asked about the elasticity or inelasticity of the price, etc. The other thing is also very common in the F5 exam is that there are few irrelevant information, and I am calling the irrelevant because this is not required in the requirement. So there you may came across some irrelevant information in the exam, and examiner in such situations really want to understand, do you have really a clear concept understanding, or you just try to use each and every information in the answer, right? So the first information, for example, the demand for product X and Y is relatively elastic while the demand for product Z is relatively inelastic. Now, this information is clearly irrelevant for what we have been asked. Now, let's jump to the next question. And in this question, we have been asked to calculate the throughput accounting ratio for procedure C. So clearly, this is the question on the throughput accounting. And also, we have been asked to calculate the optimum production mix and the maximum profit per annum. So this is a complete question on the throughput accounting. And we will now be discussing it. One of the students has concerns that costing section will be examined on section A in MCQs form, but now we are doing long questions costing for 11 marks. It will appear in section in MCQs. Tavish, if you had joined me earlier, I told you that yes, costing section will appear as objective test, but you see this is a revision session. And the objective of this is that we have to cover a complete topic. So by selecting a long question, I can actually discuss each and every part of a topic. And the point number 2 is that we should be very convenient with how we have to perform the section C type question. So instead of waiting it for the section B, when I have to discuss the decision making questions, I thought it would be best for me to start it from the section A. So if you know how to derive a complete answer, you can be able to perform an objective test as well, right? Muhammad Fahim has asked that he sat for December 2017 exam and he could not understand the first question. So Fahim, I think, which was on ABC costing. So Fahim, I think you should be reviewing more on your knowledge base, because this time around we are not covering the revision of the activity-based costing. So clearly, if you didn't understand the requirement or the information, then it seems that the topic of activity-based costing is a little weak for you. What you should do is you should revise the topic first, right? And for that, you can also see the March 2018 videos as well, in which I have debriefed the topic of activity-based costing. The link will soon be shared, or either would have been shared with you by the ACCA team. Right? So let's discuss the question on the throughput accounting. And once again, I will be switching off my mic and my camera. I will be switching off my mic and my camera so that you can concentrate on reading the background information of question number 2. And then I will be discussing it in a later way. Right? So please read the complete information first. So I hope you have read the complete information, the background information. So is there any question, any point that you want to make it clear before going to the solution or not? Any question? So I don't find any comment from your side. So I think all are fine with that. So let's jump to the spreadsheet. Let me have a complete different section. Like this. And now we will be solving the throughput question. That's question number 2. A couple of questions I've just seen these. A couple of questions has now been asked. Which part of syllabus will particularly appear in C section? Is there any? Here we have 4 different sections in F5. One is costing, the other one is decision making. Then we have budgeting and control, and finally we have performance. So with the exception of section A, which can only be appeared in either A type question or B type, all the 3 sections that include decision, budgeting and control, and the performance, all these 3 sections questions can appear in section C of the exam. That is the longer version. Then kindly also explain how to tackle the writing based questions. Here I have included some, so you have to wait for that, and we will be discussing it, that how are we going to tackle the writing based questions as well, right? Now in this question, the requirement A was to calculate the throughput accounting ratio for procedure C. So throughput accounting ratio for procedure C. Let's make it bold. To calculate the throughput accounting ratio, what should we be requiring? We will be requiring the throughput per unit first of all. We will also be requiring the throughput per bottleneck. Then we will be calculating the conversion cost, which is also known as the factory cost, by the way, conversion cost per bottleneck. And then we can finally calculate the throughput accounting ratio, right? Here's one question. Let me take it. A student has asked a very important question, and it is, in the examination, the Excel software would be same as we use daily, or would the functions will be restricted? Here, the functions that you have been provided in the exam will be pretty much restricted. I strongly advise that you should visit the ACCA web page where F5 on CB resources are available, and on that, please look at the pilot exam paper of F5, and in that you can actually observe the environment of the exam, the spreadsheet and its functionalities. It will be very great, it will be very good that you are fully aware of the level of functionalities and how are they performed before going to your final exam. So it will be a great activity. Now coming to the solution part, first of all, let's calculate the throughput per unit. And the formula for throughput per unit will be selling price minus the material cost. Now remember that we are only calculating it for procedure C. So the procedure C selling price is 4250. So I should write 4250 minus. Then the material costs are of 3. Let me view it in the print layout. So it is 3. One is the preoperative injections, which cost 1000. Then the anesthetic cost 45. And finally the dressing, which cost 5.6. So this will be minus 1000 minus 45 minus 5.6. So the answer is 3199.4. This is throughput per unit. Now I have to determine the throughput per bottleneck. So clearly in the question, we have been told that the surgeon are the bottleneck. So to calculate the throughput per bottleneck, what we will be doing is we will be dividing the throughput per unit by the surgeon hours per unit for procedure C, which is 1.25. So equal throughput per unit divided by 1.25, which is the surgeon hours per unit for procedure C. One of the students has asked me to redo the first step. So sure, I will be doing it. So this was the first step. In the question, we have been told that the selling price is 4250, and there are 3 different kinds of material. One costs 1000, the other one costs 45, and the last one costs 5.6. So I have deducted all 3 different kinds of material costs to get the throughput per unit. And then we have to calculate the throughput per bottleneck. So the formula will be throughput per hour divided by surgeon hours per unit. This is because surgeon hours is our bottleneck. Right? So now in the next phase, I will be covering the conversion cost per bottleneck. So the conversion cost includes, which is also known as the factory cost, the salaries of these laborers, and also the other overhead cost of $250,000. So that means my conversion cost will be equal the total of conversion cost. So it will be 45,000 plus 38,000 plus 75,000 plus 90,000 plus 50,000. So these are the salaries of the 5 operative, and then I should also add the overhead cost of 250,000. Right? So it is 548,000 per annum. Now to calculate the conversion cost per bottleneck, my bottleneck R should be, let's see whether it is given in the question or not. If it is not given in the question, we will be calculating it. And we over here, if you can see the highlighted portion, we have been told that each person, that means that includes surgeon as well, work for 1880 hours. So my per annum bottleneck is 1880 hours. So my conversion cost per bottleneck will be equal the total conversion cost divided by the per annum surgeon hours available, which are 1880. Right? So this will be the conversion cost per bottleneck. And finally, I will be calculating the throughput accounting ratio with the formula throughput per bottleneck divided by the conversion cost per bottleneck. Throughput per bottleneck divided by the conversion cost per bottleneck. And so the answer will be 8.78. So this is what was required in the question. What I generally tell the student to do is, in the exam, when you get the final answer, try to highlight it with some color. For example, just give a green color for that, so that the marker can directly view your right answer. Sal has asked a question that a total of 1880 hours each per annum. How will we know that this is bottleneck resource as it is not mentioned here? Okay. So Sat, if you can read the information carefully, it says that the surgeon hours have been correctly identified as bottleneck resource. So we know that the number of surgeon hours will be the bottleneck. Now, how many hours surgeons have worked? How many hours surgeons have worked? So over here, they have been told that each work a standard 40 hours week for 47 weeks of the year, a total of 1880 hours each per annum. Now 1880 hours means that the advisor will work 1880 hours, nurse, anesthetic, surgeon and recovery specialist all will work 1880 hours each. But I require the total annual hours of surgeon only. So as I've just told you that the surgeon has also worked 1880 hours. So I've used the total hours of surgeons only, right? Have you understood that? Now, one of the students has asked me how you calculated the throughput per unit. You get the throughput per unit formula is selling price minus the material cost per unit. So we have been told that the price of procedure C is 4250. This is the selling price, and the material cost per unit for procedure C is 1000 for, let me just, for your visibility, let me just readjust it. This should be like this. So the information was actually like this. So we have been told that there are 3 different kinds of material, and this is per procedure. So I have deducted all 3 costs of procedure C, and I will get the throughput per unit. Right? Shadid has asked me, sir, if the question has not identified the bottleneck resource, how to find it? Dear, especially in this question, when the hours for each person is same. So, for example, advisor, nurse, anesthetic, surgeon, and recovery specialist all are having 1880 hours each. So remember that whichever resource is using more hours should be the bottleneck. And for that, you can see that for procedure A, the most hours are used by the surgeons. Same is the situation for B and C as well. Right? So anything else? So now I will be moving on to the next requirement, which requires me to calculate the optimum production mix. And remember that to calculate the optimum production mix, I will be requiring the throughput accounting ratios of product B, of product A and B as well. And this has been provided to me in the question. We have been provided with the throughput per bottleneck as well as its throughput accounting ratio. Now the steps to cover that was, the first step was to identify the bottleneck process, which has already been solved. The second step was to calculate the throughput per unit. The third is to calculate the throughput per bottleneck, and the fourth one is to calculate the throughput accounting ratio. So we have been told about the throughput accounting ratio of all the 3 products, which is A, B, and C. Now, throughput accounting ratio for product A is 8.96. For B, it is 9.11. And for C, you have just calculated as 8.72. Now, what you do, you will rank it. So, the next step will be ranking. So, ranking wise, product B will be my rank 1. Product A will be my rank 2, and procedure C will be my rank 3. Finally, then I will be preparing the production plan. So I will be making, first of all, procedure B, then A, and then if the resource is left, I will be covering procedure C. Now, the formula will be units. I will then multiply it with R per unit, and I will get the total surgeon hours, of course. And I will also be putting my on the remaining resource, rather the remaining hours as well. So when I do the procedure B, I will be doing how many procedures of B? It is 800. 800. And each procedure B will take 1 hour of surgery. That means procedure B will take in total 800 hours. I would have got 1880 hours of surgeon, but I have consumed 800 hours, so my remaining hours will be 1080. Then I will do procedure A, And for procedure A, I will be doing 600 procedures and each will take 0.75. So this will be 600.75 and my total consumed hours for A will be 450 and I have left with how many? 1080 minus 450. So this will be 630 hours. Now, because for procedure C, I have to do 1200 and procedure C require 1.25 hours. So if I could roughly calculate it for you over here, equal 1200 into 1.25. So clearly I will require 1500 hours to complete, but I have only left with 630 hours. So of course I will not be able to complete the procedure C in total. That will mean I will only be doing procedure C up till the resources I have left with. So I will only be consuming 630 hours. Each procedure C will take me 1.25 hours. So that means the balancing of the hours and the hour per unit is 504. That means I will be doing 504 procedures. Now in the question we have been asked to calculate the total profit. So we will be calculating the throughput first, the total throughput for of course procedure A, procedure B and procedure C. And the total throughput will be the number of units of each product. So for B it is 800 multiplied by the throughput per unit which is given in the question and it was we took 2654.4. So it's 2123520. For A, we have done 600 procedures and each A will get the throughput per unit of 2612.53. And for procedure C, we have done 504 procedures. Each procedure has the throughput per unit of 3199.4. We had calculated in part A. So we have 1612498 total throughput. Now when I total that, I will get the complete total throughput of the company. And now if I deduct the fixed cost from that, and the fixed cost was, I had calculated it over here, which was 548,000. My profit will be how much? This will be fixed cost minus, rather the total throughput minus the fixed cost. So this will be 475536. So this will be my final answer. Let's make it bold and also highlight it with the color so that the marker or examiner will clearly view where you have calculated it, right? So any question? Any question? One of the students has asked me kindly redo in plan the last step of making C. Okay, so you are talking about the production plan. And one of the student has also asked the ranking could be done via throughput or bottleneck as well. So first of all, I'm answering the question of Mohammed Hamza Siddiq, who has asked the ranking could be done via the throughput per bottleneck as well. So yes, you can also rank your product through throughput per bottleneck because the conversion cost per hour will remain constant, will remain same for all the products. So we will always find the same ranking. Either we have to use throughput accounting ratio or we have to use the throughput per bottleneck. Now coming to the Saad's request to revisit the working C. So Saad, we knew that we have left with 630 hours only. So I will be only consuming the total 630 hours. I also knew that we have 1.25 hours each unit. So if I work it back, that is, if I divide the total hours with the hours per unit of procedure C, I will get the number of procedure C that I can do. So this is how I have done that. Right? So now let's move to the question number 3, which is the last question, by the way, for the day. And then if you have left with the time, and if you don't have any question, we will start doing the question of the day 2 as well. This will save our time and then we can have a long discussion on a specific topic or a specific area which you would like. So this question, we have been asked to calculate the weighted average contribution to sales ratio for hair company. So we have to calculate the weighted average CS ratio. And we have also been asked to calculate the total break-even sales revenue for the next year for hair company. So we have to calculate the weighted average CS ratio as well as the break-even sales revenue for the next year. So as usual, please read the complete information first, and then we will discuss it. Right? So the background information is on your screen. I'm as usual switching off my camera and muting my mic while you are reading the information so that all your concentration on the extracting the data from the question. So have you all read the information? Before coming to the answer of the third question, there are a couple of questions that has been asked by the students. So let me answer it first. The first question is about throughput accounting ratio. That it is not clear that what the throughput accounting ratio is. Here the throughput accounting ratio is the throughput per unit, and I have to divide the throughput per unit with the factory cost, rather the formula is throughput per bottleneck divided by the factory cost per bottleneck. So in this question, the bottleneck is surgeon hours. So I have divide the throughput per surgeon hour by the conversion cost or the factory cost per surgeon hours. So over here, I had calculated the throughput per hour, per surgeon hour, and then I had also calculated the conversion cost per hour. For the detailed information, I request you to do look at the debrief video for March 2018 because I have explained what the throughput accounting ratio is. Now coming to the next question, it says, in the exam, after answering in the Excel, do we have to save like we do in the Office Excel? No. In the exam, you don't need to do that. It will be auto save. So the only thing you have to do with that is you have to perform the questions. Then there is one more question. So at the throughput per hour, we have for A and B to calculate profit. Isn't it factory cost per hour? In the question, are they both same, factory per hour and the throughput per hour? So first of all, factory cost per hour is not the same. And if you can see that I have used, to calculate the total throughput, I have used the total throughput per unit. I have multiplied the number of units with the throughput per unit. So I have not used the hours to calculate the total throughput. And the throughput per hour and the conversion cost per hour is not the same thing. So now let's discuss question number 3. I hope I have answered all the questions that you have asked. So in this question, we have to calculate the weighted average CS ratio first of all. And so we have 3 different products. One is product C, then we have F, and then we have D. The first thing that you should be doing is to make a mix of each unit. And how do we do that? We can take the number of units, the budgeted units, and divide it with the highest common factor. So you can see that all the 3 variables can be divided by 2000. So that means C will be equal 20,000 units by 2000. So this will be 10. For S it will be equal 22,000 by 2000, so this will be 11. And for D it will be 26,000 by 2000, so it will be 30. So this will be the mix. In the mix, I would have 10C, 11S and 13D. This should be the first step when you have to determine the weighted average CS ratio. Now to calculate the contribution, I will be requiring the selling price and the contribution per unit of each product, first of all. Now the selling price for C is 110, for S it is 160 and 120 for D. The contribution per unit is selling price minus all the variable cost, and for C it is 12, 18, 8, 16 and 14. So let's subtract it. 12, 8, 16 and 14. This 12, 8, 16 and 14 all are the variable cost per unit for product C. So the contribution per unit for product C will be, I did just one mistake. I've used the minus sign twice. So let me correct it. So it is $60. Similarly for S it will be selling price minus the variable cost of S, which is 28, 22, 34 and 20. So 28, 22, 24 and 30. It's 34, not 24. So let me correct that. It's 34 and 30. And 20 rather. Right? Similarly, we can calculate it for product D as well. So it will be selling price minus the variable costs are 16, 26, 22 and 28. 16, 26, 22 and 28. So this will be 28. I hope I haven't done anything wrong. 16, 22, 6, 22, 28 and 20. Right. There's one question. Can you please reduce the video quality a bit as my internet connection is a bit slow? Well, it's a standard procedure, and to be honest, I'm not technically that much equipped to reduce my video quality. But what you can do is you can see the recorded session of this video later by downloading it, right? Now, coming back to the actual part. Now, to calculate the weighted average CS ratio, my way of doing is, first of all, I will calculate the values for the mix. And what are the values for the mix? The selling price of each mix will be the number of units of product C multiplied by the selling price of C plus the number of units in a mix of S multiplied by S plus the units of D multiplied by the selling price of D. So that is how I calculate the selling price of a mix. This is how I do that. So the answer is 4420. This will be known as selling price of a mix. Now in the same way, I will be calculating the contribution per mix. And this will be done with the same situation, that is multiplying each unit with its respective contribution per unit. So for S, here are 11 units multiplied by the contribution per unit of 56 of S, and for D, there are 13 units in the mix, and I will multiply it with the contribution per unit of D. So here will be the calculation. Please note that. So the contribution per mix is 1580. Now to calculate the weighted average CS ratio, what you can do is weighted average CS ratio. What you can do is you can simply calculate the CS ratio of that mix with the formula contribution per unit of a mix divided by the selling price of a mix. Contribution per unit of a mix divided by the selling price of a mix. And the answer is 0.35747. What you should do in the end is you should convert or represent it into percentage. So this will be 35.75%. Let's also make it bold. Right? So this is the answer of requirement A, and that was to calculate the weighted average CS ratio. Let's also highlight it with the color so that marker or examiner can view your answer very clearly. Now coming to the next requirement, which is very easy one, and this was to calculate the break-even point in sales revenue. The break-even point in sales revenue. Now, just for your knowledge, I don't need to write the formula of break-even point in sales revenue in the exam, but just for your knowledge, the formula to calculate the break-even point in sales revenue will be fixed cost divided by the weighted average CS ratio. Now in the question we have been provided with the fixed cost, and we had already calculated the weighted average CS ratio. So we will be calculating it with the same formula. So the fixed cost is 640,000 divided by the CS ratio of 35.75%. So the answer is $1790380 of course. one of the students has asked, what is the logic behind calculating the mix? The problem in the multiple products break-even point is that we have a common fixed cost. We have a common fixed cost of 3 different products. And the concept of making a mix is to make all the 3 products into one single product. So instead of mix, if you can take a concept of a packet, what we are doing over here is we are making a pack for all the 3 products. And each pack will contain the same proportion of mix that has already been used. So especially in this question, we can say that each packet will contain 10 units of C, 11 units of S, and 13 units of D. So its selling price will also be made of 10 units of C, 11 units of S, and 13 units of D. Same has been done for the contribution as well. So this will make us a single product. And now if we take the CS ratio of it, this will be known as weighted average CS ratio. One of the students has asked, if the question states give answer to the nearest thousand, the answer would be 1790400 or 1790000. Here, if you have been asked that you have to round off your answer in $1,000, especially in the spreadsheet, what you simply is going to do is, because it is in $1,000, you will simply go and divide it with 1000 first of all, and then you round it off. So in $1,000, your answer will be 1790 in $1,000, of course. So this will be your answer if you round it off to $1,000. Otherwise, if nothing has been mentioned, your answer will be simply 1790380, the complete answer. Right? So anything else? So today we had covered 3 different questions. One question is on the activity-based costing. The other question was on the throughput accounting, and the third question was from the CVP topic. Our special focus was on how are we going to perform the questions in the session CBE of F5, of course, which is should be in June 2018. And that is why, although all the 3 questions are more likely to be tested as part of section B, which is the OT case, but I have chosen some long version questions so that I can straight away link you to the spreadsheet environment as well as the Word environment. Right? So is there any question? Is there any question? I think there isn't any because I'm not finding it. Any questions from your side? So that means that's it for the day. Tomorrow we will be covering the topics like the limiting factor, the relevant costing, and also the risk and uncertainty. So I will be joining you tomorrow at the same time. The recording of this session will be uploaded soon and then will be shared it with you. Also, I would remind you that you should note my email address that I have shared it with you at the start of the session. I will be writing it once again on the question screen, which is asad.ijaz@scans.edu.pk. The link of the WhatsApp group has already been shared, so I would love that you all should also join that group, so that even after these sessions, these 5 days, if you have any query, I will be answering it and I will try to help you out. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much for joining us, and I will be joining you back again tomorrow. So thank you very much.